So think about inheritance for a second. Usually it's, money, maybe a house.
Right, tangible things.
Exactly. But what if there was something bigger,
Mm.
like unlimited happiness, endless potential? Sounds a bit out there, maybe.
Yeah, it does sound almost too good to be true.
But we're actually diving into a really fascinating text today, the Morning Murli from May 1st, 1925, that
Yeah.
talks about exactly this. It gives a really unique way of looking at ourselves,
Yeah.
and this spiritual inheritance idea.
It really does. And like you said, this isn't your usual kind of advice, is it? Not about finances or just sort of positive thinking.
Right.
Our mission here, really, in this deep dive, is to unpack this core idea that who we are fundamentally isn't this body. We're souls, eternal,
Yeah.
and children of what the text calls the Supreme Father.
Okay.
And it's from that connection that this unlimited inheritance flows, something way beyond, worldly stuff.
Unlimited happiness, spiritual property. Okay, let's get into this. For you listening, the learner, always after those quick but deep insights, what's the first big aha moment here? What jumps out?
Well, the first thing, and it's really central, is this constant, almost rhythmic repetition, I am a soul.
Okay.
The text really hammers this home. I am a soul, and all souls are children of the Supreme Soul, the Father. It's repeated again and again.
So it's not just a thought you have once. It's about really drilling it in. What's the point of that constant repetition, that grinding, as the text calls it?
Yeah, think of it maybe like this. You're playing a VR game, right? And you get so into it, you kind of forget you're actually, just sitting there in your chair.
Right, totally lost in it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So this grinding of I am a soul, it's the constant reminder, gently but firmly pulling you back to who you really are, beyond the game, beyond the body. This shift from body consciousness to soul consciousness. That's what seems to unlock this connection.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So the inheritance isn't for the avatar, it's for the player, the soul.
Precisely.
Now, this unlimited inheritance, unlimited property, unlimited happiness from this unlimited Father, how does that stack up against, regular inheritance?
Well, the source draws a really clear contrast. It points out that worldly wealth, whether it's a few rupees or millions, it's always limited, isn't it?
Yeah, finite.
Finite. You can compare it, you can lose it. But this unlimited inheritance, it's described as something else entirely, a state of being, an endless source of joy and spiritual fulfillment that comes directly from that divine connection.
Right. Material wealth is always relative. This sounds different, qualitatively different. So what's the ultimate goal then? The big promise tied to claiming this inheritance?
The text talks about this profound hope, becoming masters of the new world, inheriting unlimited heaven. And significantly, it says this happens every cycle of time.
Every cycle. That suggests a cyclical view of time, which is pretty interesting in itself.
It is.
And then there's this mention of Maya, the cat. That sounds intriguing. Snatching away the inheritance. What's that about?
Maya the cat. It's a powerful metaphor, really. It represents all the illusions, the attachments, the, negative influences that distract us.
The things that pull us back into body consciousness.
Exactly. They pull us away from remembering we're souls, forgetting the Father, forgetting our inheritance. It's like that nagging self-doubt or maybe worldly temptations, things that create this internal play of victory and defeat, as the text puts it.
So it's an ongoing struggle inside, remembering versus forgetting.
Yeah.
Okay. The text also talks about a specific meeting with the Father. When is this supposed to happen?
This is really significant. The Murli identifies this time, the present time, as that unique period for the meeting. Us, the souls, the children, meeting the Supreme Soul, the Father.
Just now?
Yes. It stresses that this isn't something that's always happening, but a specific event. Once per cycle, after a long, long separation.
Wow. Once a cycle. That really elevates the importance of now, doesn't it? How is this meeting different from, say, other spiritual gatherings or practices?
The text makes a distinction. It calls this the most wonderful mela of souls, contrasting it with what it calls artificial melas on the path of devotion, like maybe traditional religious festivals or pilgrimages. The implication is clear. This direct meeting happening now is unique, unparalleled in its potential.
It also mentions something quite poetic. That we souls originally live in the home of sweet silence, and we've gotten, tired from playing our parts down here.
Yes, that resonates, doesn't it? that feeling of being weary, the search for real peace. The text frames this as a deep longing, maybe not always conscious, to return to that original state of peace, to reconnect.
It makes sense. People are always searching for peace, aren't they?
Absolutely.
Okay, so we understand who we are souls and what's on offer, this unlimited inheritance. How do we actually access it? The text mentions controlling the senses through yoga. What does that mean here?
Yeah, this is crucial. The mischief of the senses, getting caught up in everything external, all the desires, that's presented as a big obstacle.
Right.
The power of yoga here. It's less about the physical postures we might think of and more about mental discipline, spiritual focus, consciously managing our thoughts, directing attention inwards towards the soul and the Father.
And if we manage that, what happens? What's the result of controlling the senses?
The idea is that our senses become cool and calm. It prevents the negativity, the dirt, as the text puts it, from this current age, from spoiling the future golden age or heaven. It's about building that inner purity now.
But controlling the senses, honestly, that feels like a massive challenge, almost impossible sometimes. Does the text offer any encouragement on that front?
It directly addresses that feeling. It says, yes, it is possible through this power of yoga, this inner connection, and very importantly, through constant remembrance of the Father.
So remembrance is key to gaining that power.
Exactly. That connection is presented as the source of strength needed to manage the senses, to not get pulled around by them.
Okay. The text uses these terms, Baba and Bapdada. Could you clarify who or what they refer to?
Sure. Baba is used as a very loving, familiar term for the Father, the Supreme Soul. And the text says he's present now, even taking on a relatable form, wearing the same kind of clothes that you wear, it says, to connect with us.
Interesting. And Bapdada.
Bapdada is a combined term. It represents the Supreme Father, Baba, along with Prajapita, Brahma. Brahma is seen as this key figure, like a divine ancestor who helps establish the new era at this meeting point of the cycles. So Bapdada signifies that combined presence.
And how do we fit into that picture as souls?
We are described as the eternal children of Shiv Baba, the Supreme Father, always have been. But now, by connecting with Prajapita Brahma at this specific time, we also become his grandchildren in a spiritual sense. It's presented as a really unique relationship within this cycle.
Okay, that clarifies the terms. The text then brings up the story of immortality, linking it to Amarnath. What's the connection there?
It draws a parallel with the Hindu story, where Lord Shankar tells the story of immortality at Amarnath. The text suggests that now, the real Lord of Immortality, the Father himself, is telling the true story of immortality directly to us.
So this knowledge is the story of immortality.
That's the idea. And the practical path to achieving that spiritual elevation or immortality.
What's the guidance?
It centers on following Shrimat.
Shrimat.
Yes, Shrimat means the directions, the divine guidance given by Shiv Baba. The text describes it as an easy path. It involves, again, controlling the senses, but also actively cultivating divine virtues like peace, love, purity.
And practically, any day-to-day advice.
Yeah, it even gives advice like, ignore it if people say negative things. Don't hold on to anger. Just let it go. Focus on the positive, on the virtues.
There's also a very striking image used, Draupadi being stripped. What does that represent here?
That's a powerful analogy from the Mahabharata. It's used to symbolize the current state of the world, of humanity spiritually degraded, powerless, dishonored, you could say.
Wow.
And the Father's arrival now is like the divine intervention that saved Draupadi. He comes to save us, to restore our spiritual dignity and honor.
And where is this salvation leading? What's the destination?
The text paints this as our last birth in this land of death. The Father's purpose is to purify us, his children, and then take us back to the land of silence.
The home of sweet silence we talked about earlier.
Exactly, our original home of peace. But purification has to happen first.
Okay. Then the conversation shifts to the cycle of knowledge and this symbol of the rosary. How do they connect?
Well, the Father's role, as mentioned, is purification, purifying the impure souls in this old world. This purification happens through knowledge, which allows the new world, the world of deities, to emerge.
And this involves different stages.
Yes, it describes a transformation from being Shudras, which here means souls lacking spiritual understanding, to becoming Brahmins, through receiving this knowledge at the confluence age, this special meeting time. And eventually, those Brahmins become the deities of the new world.
And the rosary fits in how? It's not just for counting prayers.
No, not just that. It's symbolic. The beads represent the souls who actively help the Father in this work, this service of transformation. And the tassel at the top of the rosary is very significant. It's called Rama, symbolizing the bestower of salvation for all. It represents the ultimate goal and the means to get there.
There's also a clarification about Shiv Baba's role. He's not exactly a creator in the usual sense.
Right. The text clarifies this. Shiv Baba is the eternal father of souls and the purifier. But Brahma is designated as the one who creates the new human world order at this specific confluence age. Shiv Baba's creation, the souls, are eternal. They aren't created or destroyed in that way.
Okay, that's an important distinction. So we boil it down. Getting this unlimited inheritance, what are the absolute must-dos?
Two main things stand out constantly. Remember the Father, consistently, and become pure.
Purity in what sense?
Thoughts, words, actions. It involves becoming a spinner of the discuss of self-realization, really understanding this knowledge deeply, living it, and helping others understand it too, making them similar to yourself.
And this personal transformation
Yeah.
connects to a bigger picture, a world change.
Absolutely. This inner purification is linked directly to the end of the old degraded world and the beginning of the new pure golden age, the age ruled by deities. The temples we see now are described as memorials, remnants of that past glory.
Right.
The text also touches on this cycle of awareness, moving from knowledge to devotion, then eventually disinterest in the old ways, suggesting we're now in that time of disinterest as the play is now ending.
The end of the cycle.
Yeah.
Okay. And one last point addresses this idea of eternal liberation, merging back into God forever. Some traditions teach that. What's the view here?
It presents a different perspective. The idea that individual souls just merge back and disappear forever, that's not seen as accurate in this framework. Instead, it emphasizes the eternal nature of the drama, the cosmic play.
So we keep playing our parts.
It seems so. Predestined roles within this ever-repeating cycle.
Okay. So putting it all together, this deep dive into the morning Murli, it's really unveiled this powerful way of seeing ourselves, hasn't it? Not just as physical bodies, but as eternal souls.
Definitely.
Connected to a supreme father and entitled, actually, to this incredible unlimited inheritance.
Yeah.
Spiritual wealth, happiness.
Right. And it highlights how key soul consciousness is, mastering the senses through that inner discipline, that yoga, and just constantly remembering that connection.
It really invites a shift, doesn't it? Away from seeing limits everywhere in the material world.
Towards seeing the boundless potential within, in our spiritual self,
Right.
and that connection to the supreme.
It certainly gives you a lot to think about. So for you listening, as you reflect on this idea of an unlimited inheritance, what would that actually look like? To live from that place, acting from that sense of unlimited potential, that connection to the Father. How might really seeing yourself as a soul, first and foremost, change how you view your day-to-day life, your goals?
It's a powerful question.
It really is. Just pondering how shifting focus consciously from body consciousness to soul consciousness, how that might lead to a completely different experience of everything around you, something to really sit with.